I have obviously lost my mind this month. I discovered a few websites, bookoutlet and thriftbooks.com, and then I took a bunch of books to my local used bookstore, which they don't straight out buy you books. What they do is you trade them in, they give you credit in certain categories, and then you can buy books with your credits and you pay handling fee and taxes. And then there's Amazon, and needless to say, this month I went, my cat's being obnoxious, completely, totally out of my mind on book buying. This will have to last me for a while. Right now, not including the unboxed books that I'm going to unbox here, I have 73 books. Oops. So it's going to be a long one, so here we go. First I'm going to start with the books I received for free. The first one being this one called Ink Death. One of the girls at work thought I would enjoy this because she said I was into weird stuff. And she said, I have a book that has a skull, that's a candy skull in the front of it. I think you'll enjoy it because it just looks weird. So she bought me this one, which is, when I googled it, because it didn't come with a dust cover or anything, the third in a series. So, oops. But this is the third book in a series called Ink World, which is in the same series as the movie Ink's Heart that Brendan Fraser did. But hey, it's a free book and it is cool. I mean, look at this. So, I also received from the author, I received this book called Beyond Cloud 9. This is a sci-fi book. I received it via Goodreads. It was a contest I won straight from the author, and I thought it was really cool because it is autographed. And not only is it autographed, it's got my name in it, so woohoo! I've already read and reviewed this one. You can check out my Goodreads review or my blog review, both of which I'll put in a link down below. The second one I won on Goodreads that I received straight from the author is this one called Blood and Rain. This is one that I would not have actually picked up in the store myself because I don't tend to go down that aisle, but it was about vampires, so hey. But this is a romance, a paranormal romance, which I do read, but both of the main characters are male, and I don't think I've ever even been down that aisle. The LGBT, I think it is. I'm not sure what it's called. But it's a vampire romance novel. So I wanted to give it a try, and I won. So I will be reading this one when I finish the book I'm on now. And then, because I received that Ink Death, I went to Thrift Books, and this was my first time on the website, and I spent $10, I think, and I got Ink Heart, which is the first in the series, and this is a used copy, but it is such a pretty copy. It's got the dust jacket, and even the book is gorgeous. Oh, now I can't get it back together. And this is the second one, Ink Spell. So now I have the whole series. Again, it was used, but it's in great condition. I love the purple. I don't know if you can tell or not, but that is purple. And it's got a beautiful cover, even without the dust jacket. Clumsy. And then the last three items I got on thriftbooks.com was, let's try it this way. I just recently switched my webcam so that it wasn't flipped, so now I'm having issues spatially. This one, which is Grim Fairy Tales. This is a comic book series that I got into a while back, and this is the third volume of a compilation of 6 issues, which I have already read, and if you're interested, you can check out my Goodreads on my review on it. Then I got Tales from Wonderland, which is a Alice in Wonderland dark comic book series that I was into. It's got several different series. It's got Escaping from Wonderland, Beyond Wonderland, Return to Wonderland, all of which I did enjoy. This one I didn't enjoy as much, but I have already read it, and it's on my Goodreads also. Then I received this copy of Terry Brooks' The Dark Legacy of Shannara, Wards of Fairy. This author in this series is an auto-buy for me. Pretty much anything by Terry Brooks in the Shannara world, I straight out buy then and there because I just have to have it. I haven't read them all yet. I'm still working on it. And then I went to get all these over here. I did go to my bookstore I was telling you about, and I bought several books. I got Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, which I have been dying to get my hands on a copy since I was in high school, but every time I went to a bookstore they were either out or all they had was the outrageously priced hardcovers, so I've never been able to get my hands on a copy. Now that I did get my hands on a copy, all my bookstores have them in paperback. Isn't that about right? Then I got these two, which is Hot Zone by Jane Castle and Deception Cove, which are books 2 and 3 in a series called the Rain Shadow Novels. These are paranormal romance, and they take place way in the future, and there was a veil that lifted in outer space, and we were able to travel to another universe and colonize planets, and then the entrance disappeared, and they've been by themselves for a couple of hundred years. On this particular planet, which I do believe is Harmony, people have developed special psychic powers. My cat's gonna knock that stack of book over. And this is kind of like a side on that particular planet. Then I got Terry Goodkind's Wizard's First Rule, which is the first book in a series. I actually ended up with like the 7th book in the series in hardback. I got it from Sci-Fi Book Club a few years ago. I didn't realize it was part of the series. Actually, yeah, about the 7th in the series. So I needed the first, so I got it at my used bookstore. You'll have to excuse the scratchiness of my voice. I haven't talked to a lot of people lately. Then I got these two, Rogue Descendant and Deadly Descendant, which are books 2 and 3. I'm not sure which order they are in, but they are books 2 and 3 in an urban fantasy series, which I have book 1 of. And this is Greek gods, basically. The series is about a girl, what's her name? Nikki Glass, who is a descendant of Artemis. And she's a huntress. I think she's like a bounty hunter. I haven't actually read the series, but I did buy it. And then I got this one, Afterlife, which is another urban fantasy, which I am currently really into the urban fantasy thing. And it's called The Resurrection Chronicles. I saw this and it looked really, really cool, so I thought I would get it. But basically, she is a professional babysitter for people who have been recently brought back to life. Which, how cool is that? And then I bought several Terry Brooks books. I bought The Black Unicorn, which is the second in the series, called Landover. I just recently read the first. I haven't read this one yet because I didn't have it, and now I do. It's in my jar to be picked from. And then I bought these two, which is Terry Brooks' Voyage of the Gerald Shannara, Anthrax, and Morgal, which is books 2 and 3 of side series of Shannara. I had book 1 in hardback, also from the Sci-Fi Book Club. I have a lot of books from the Sci-Fi Book Club. And I wanted books 2 and 3 to go with it for when I started reading it. And then I bought this one. I've never read anything by Terry Brooks that wasn't Shannara other than the first book of Landover. So I saw this practically in brand new condition and thought I would get it. It's Terry Brooks' Running with the Demon. It's part of a series called The Word and the Void. I'm not sure what I'm going to think of it, but it sounded interesting, so I grabbed it. The last thing I bought was The City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. Everybody's been reading this. I did see the movie. I enjoyed the movie. And I remember thinking I wanted to read the book, but I had never seen the book on the shelves because I didn't realize it was young adult. Then I went to my local comic book slash game, basically Geeks Hideout, and bought some books. They mostly have comic books, but they do sell real books. And I bought The Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Mariner. I'm wanting to pronounce those two L's as a Y because I've been in Louisiana too long. And this is a retelling of I don't remember the name of the original the original fairy tale, but it's Seven Swans. This is about a sister who is the seventh child in a family, and her 6 brothers are turned into swans, and she has to find out how to break the curse, but she cannot speak until after the curse is broken or it will become permanent. My ex-boyfriend had a copy of this book, and I never did read it because I didn't realize it was a fairy tale retelling, so there you go. And then I got Fire Sea, which is part 2 of the Death Gate series. No, Death Gate Cycle is the name of the series, by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, 2 of the greatest science fiction authoresses. Is that how it's pronounced? Oh, no, I lie. This is volume 3. I still need volume. No, I have volume 2. I have volume 1 and volume 2, so I needed volume 3. I did buy the right one. I've read the first volume, but not the second volume. Then I've been wanting to buy this one forever. Anne of Green Gables. I saw the series off of PBS when I was younger, and absolutely fell in love, and even though there was no fantasy to it, which I'm really big into, I just had to read it. But I never got a chance, so now I have a chance. Then I bought Stephen King's The Tommyknockers, which I have read before, but it was a really long time ago. I read it when I was in high school, and I'm not sure what happened to the copy I read, whether it was a library copy or whether it was a copy of a book that got lost or given away or probably stolen by accident. And then I bought another classic called The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I've never read anything by Oscar Wilde, but I have been interested in reading this because it's about a man who stays young because his picture stays young. I don't know how to explain it better than that because it has been a really long time since I've heard of this story. Then my local Albertsons sells books, and I bought some books there this month. They have a bargain bin, and their bargain bin was on sale, so I bought 2 kids' books. I bought The Ogre of Oglefort, which sounded absolutely adorable. It's about a group of unlikely heroes, which, what was it? A troll, a hag, a wizard, and an orphan are charged with rescuing a young princess. I thought that sounded absolutely adorable, so I bought it. It only cost me about $1. Then I bought, this is a cover by The Sinister Sweetness of Splendid Academy. Does that cover just look absolutely gorgeous? I don't remember what the inside looked like. Just plain black book, but the binding on the plain black book was absolutely gorgeous. It's about 2 kids that get sent to a school because their school burned down, that they're provided with lots of sweets and lots of good tasty foods to eat, and they begin to suspect something is wrong. For full price, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I did anyways, I bought Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. I love the idea of the good guy becoming the bad guy. It's just cool. And I jumped on the bandwagon and bought Miss Peregrine's School for Peculiar Children, which I had actually heard of before I started seeing it on BookTube, because I stumbled onto a website that was talking about these pictures that had gotten found, so somebody created a story around them, which I thought was cool. And then I bought the sequel, Hollow City. I figured I will read them eventually. Let's see. Next, I have my Dollar General books. Let's see if I can get these here. My Dollar General has a lot of books that usually cost around $2 or $3, so I did buy some books. I bought Secret of the Wolf by Cynthia Garnier. I just thought it would be cool to have a, it's paranormal romance. I like paranormal romance, and it's about wolves. I bought J.R. Ward's Lover Unleashed. I know it's not the first in the series, which I do not have, but I figured for $3 I could go ahead and get it, so that when I started reading the series, I would already have it. Then I bought Terry Goodkind's The Omen Machine. It sounded interesting. It's $3. Why not? I bought Sherilyn Kenyon's Retribution. I'm working on filling out my Sherilyn Kenyon collection because I started reading Sherilyn Kenyon about the time my reading slump hit. So there's a lot of books that I am missing from the series. It was $3. This one was mostly a cover buy. I bought Haven by Kay Hooper. It's a Bishop Special Crimes Unit novel, and I know it's not the first in the series, but I'm gonna kind of read it as a standalone. If I like this book, I will look into the rest of the series and see what you have. And then I bought this one, which is it's called Burning Lamp by Amanda Quick, and Amanda Quick is another name for Jane Castle from earlier. Her real name is Jane Krentz, but she writes under 3 or 4 names, and this is actually not the same as the other 2 I got. This one is an Arcane Society book, which the Arcane Society series takes place under all her names. There's, you know, a couple of books of the series under each name, because it's a society of magic users that cross time and space. They've always existed. The other day I stopped at Dollar Tree. They had books, so they're $1 a piece. Tell me you can't go to some place that has $1 books and not pick up a few. I bought Asunder by Jody Meadows. It's the 2nd in the series, so I now need to get the 1st book, but that cover is absolutely gorgeous, and the concept sounded really cool. It's kind of a book on reincarnation as far as I can tell, and the girl that the book is about is a new soul. She's never been reincarnated, so she's not accepted in society, which I thought sounded kind of cool. And I also bought another, I'm not sure if this is paranormal romance or urban fantasy, but it's called Under the Moon. I thought it was cool because, like, the first line is, Quinn Caldwell is the epitome of a modern goddess. A modern goddess? Okay, sounds cool. The rest of it just hooked me, so I figured I'd give it a whirl because really it sounded good. The other day I was at my Goodwill looking for something else, and they are currently running a sale. Probably one of the most awesome book sales I've ever seen. You can get 8 paperbacks for $1 or 4 hardbacks. I got $1 worth of each. I picked up Ghouls Just Haunt to Have Fun. It's part of a series called A Ghost Hunter Mystery. I'm not really into mysteries, but I am into the paranormal, so I figured I'd give it a whirl. I bought 2 of them. I bought this one and Ghoul Interrupted. I thought they sounded cool because the girl in it is a hostess for a show called Ghoul Getters. And I know in this one she's called to help kill a demon. Demons, cool. And this one, she's on another show called Haunted Possessions, and she ends up finding a possessed knife. I figured I'd give it a try. They're not the first in the series, but if I like them, I can always start. Random silhouette romance novel, Tall, Dark, and Texan, because I wanted to make the dollar. Because a lot of times, if you don't make the whole dollar, they will charge you full price. And then, let's see. Oh, I bought this one called Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now. This was the last one I picked up because I was one book away from making the dollar. My cat's in my lap with the books, which is always fun. And I needed one book to make the dollar, and this was yellow. It was bright yellow, and it's just basically a little book of hand-drawn comics and quotes from a depressed mind. Some of these are absolutely hilarious, others are just sad, but it picked me up. It was a quick read. I read it in an hour. If you want to see my review on it, I have it on my Goodreads. My favorite is actually on the back here. The little sheep says, "Don't follow me. I haven't got a clue." I say that all the time. Don't follow me. I don't know where I'm going. I hope you're not following me because I'll get us lost. A very pessimistic type book, but still quite funny. I bought this one randomly because it looked interesting, and I don't usually read these kind of books. It's called In the Heart of the Sea, Tragedy of the Whale Ship Essex. And this is my phone ringing. And it just sounded kind of interesting. It's about an 1819 to 238-ton Essex set sail from Nantucket on a routine voyage to hunt whales. 15 months later, the unthinkable happened in the farthest reaches of the South Pacific. The Essex was rammed and sunk by an enraged sperm whale. So basically, it's about the crew that survived and ended up on an island, and they feared cannibals, and it just sounded kind of Robinson Crusoe-ish, which I loved that book as a kid. Read it many, many times. Don't know where my copy got off to. I am currently looking for a new copy. This one is called Bad Girls Don't Die by, what's the author's name? Katie Allender. It was probably the first book I picked. It's about a high school girl living in a house. She thinks her family can't possibly get any more dysfunctional, and then supernatural things started happening. She wants to think it's in her head, but I don't remember. Yeah, doors open and close, water boils on the unlit stove. So basically, she's living in a haunted house. Then I got Charles Dickinson's Oliver Twist. I figured, yeah, I haven't read it before. I did see an old movie of Oliver Twist that I enjoyed as a kid. I don't remember much about it because I was a kid, and I figured, why not? Then I bought the last paperback I bought. It's called Jack of Kinrowen. And I wasn't sure what this was about, and I was reading the back, and what caught me was a faceless gang of bikers on a wild hunt through the streets of present-day Ottawa hurdles young Jack Rowan across the threshold into the perilous land of fairy. Hooked. Fairy books are also always quite fun to read, but on the back it also talks about Jack and the Beanstalk. So it's Jack of Kinrowen, Jack the Giant Killer, Drink Down the Moon, Charles DeLand is the big words. The rest of it's just the... So I thought, let's see what it's about. Sounds like time travel into fairyland. And then for my hardback books, I bought a couple of kids' books. I bought Prince and the Pauper, which I have never read. These are great illustrated classics. I figure if I enjoy it, I can buy the adult version. And I bought Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which I have wanted to read almost as long as I wanted to read Frankenstein. So I figured, yeah, it works. And then I bought this one, Mercedes Lackey, reserved for the cat. It sounded really cool, and it's a Mercedes Lackey book. How much better can you get than that? And then I bought, to make the dollar, I bought Catherine Coulter's The Valcourt Heiress. This is just a historical romance, which I don't read a lot of, but I do read a few. I'm saving the book outlet books for last. Second to last category, Amazon. I recently read a book called Feed, which I absolutely adored. It's on my favorites in my Goodreads. I did do a review on the library copy that I bought. I'll put the link down below. So I bought this. It's a trilogy, and this is all 3 books. You've got Feed, Deadline, and Blackout. I've read Feed, but not Deadline, and the ending to Feed left me a little unsatisfied and extremely curious. So I had to get it, and it was only $4.99 before shipping, and then shipping was like $3, so it cost me like $8 for all 3 books. How good a deal is that? Then I bought, this is called Kingdoms, and it's The Wrath of Ashar by Angus Wells. It's part of a series. I have the second in the book, so I never got around to reading it because I like to start at the beginning as often as possible. And unlike in romance series, if you start in the middle, you have no clue what's going on in sci-fi and fantasy, because a lot of those follow a timeline. Then I bought this one called Lightborn by Alison Sinclair. I have the first in this series. It's called Darkborn. The series is about, it's kind of a Victorian steampunk book, and I was hesitant to read the first one because I've never really gotten into steampunk, but it was $1 at a dollar store. I figured, why not? I really enjoyed it, so I bought the sequel, which is Lightborn, and it's about 2 different species of humans living side by side, the Darkborn and the Lightborn, and the dark live only in the dark, and the light live only in the light. The Darkborn, when they go out into the light, it burns them and kills them. I don't know what happens to the Lightborns if they go into the dark, but now I have the sequel. Unfortunately, the sequel is in a trade paperback, and my first one is in a mass market paperback. So I will probably have to replace my first one to match my second one. I have the third one in my Amazon wishlist, and I do plan on getting it. And this one I've been seeing all over BookTube. Cinder. It's a fairy tale retellings that take place in the future, and in this one, Cinder, who is Cinderella, is a cyborg. I was a little hesitant, but I downloaded the first 5 chapters for my Nook, and I really, really enjoyed the first 5 chapters, and I wanted to know what happens. So I ordered the first one. I will order the second one at some point in time. I probably won't be getting new books for a while because I quit my job a week ago. Then I bought Vampire Academy, which I actually had heard of before the movie came out because I had it on audiobook. But I use audiobooks to kind of lull me to sleep. So I've heard parts of it, but not all of it. And then I did watch the movie, which I did enjoy. So I figured, why not? It's a book. I'm going to read it. And then I bought Splintered. How cool is that cover? I absolutely adore that cover. I've heard mixed reviews on this one. It's all over BookTube. But I figured even if I didn't enjoy it, that cover is absolutely gorgeous. It can be one of those just to be pretties. And then I bought That Risen Snow. This is a Snow White story that takes place after Snow White wakes up, but she doesn't wake up human. She wakes up as a zombie. And she proceeds to attack people and turn them into zombies, which I thought was just really awesome, because I love fairy tale retellings that are dark and twisted, because original fairy tales weren't light and pretty like they became for Disney. And then I got Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stowe. I saw the movie a couple times and I really enjoyed it. I didn't realize it was a book because I don't very often go down the young adult teen section. But after having seen all these YouTube videos, all the good books are on that section now. So I bought Beautiful Creatures. I only bought the first one because I don't know if I'm going to enjoy the series or not. Okay. The next two I bought by the same author because I was one of those, oh, if you liked this, you like this. And I was like, oh, I gotta read that. But none of the bookstores in my town have anything by this author. I bought Insanity, which is the book that made me want to buy it, by Cameron Chase, which I don't have any in this town, so there we go. And then I bought Snow White Sorrow. The first is Alice in Wonderland retelling, and the second is Snow White, which looks cool. She's got blood coming out of her mouth, tattoos on her arms. Can't wait to read that. Down to the last two from Amazon. I bought Twilight by Anne Bishop. I now am only one book away from having the complete Black Jewel worlds. I loved Black Jewel's trilogy. I've read several other books in the series, and I have all but this one and the Shadow Queen. I now have this one. All I need is the Shadow Queen, and I will have every book written in that world. And then I bought The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Yes, I know this is all over. It's really super hyped, but it sounds really cool. So I must have it. And then on to the Book Outlet books. These, if you watch my Book Outlet unboxing, you've already seen these. And it's V, the original series, Dancing with Werewolves, Starters, and the first two books of Lux. Now, I am down to, oh wait, one more. I forgot these. At my local library, they do a perpetual sale, at which I bought Aquifer and Sleep No More, both of which looked really cool. This is about an oracle, and this is about in the future where there's very little water and all the water is mined underground. And then the last one, Book Outlet. I already opened the box. I didn't get into it yet, but I opened it because I knew this was going to be a really long video, because it's probably more than 80 books. Paper! Okay. I have in here The Forest of Hands and Teeth, which I borrowed from the library and absolutely loved. So I bought a copy of it from Book Outlet. And I'm really liking this cover. The cover's really cool. And then I bought the second book in that trilogy, The Dead Tossed Waves. They are zombie apocalypse books, not the apocalypse itself. They take place probably a couple hundred years afterwards. And The Dark and Hollow Places, which is the complete series for that. There are some novellas which I haven't read yet. Then I bought Outpost, which is the sequel to Enclave, which I did read. I have Enclave on order from Amazon, but whoever mailed it, it's probably stuck in Texas or something, because it's not got here yet. Then I bought Villain.net Council of Evil. Don't remember what it's about, but it sounded really cool, whatever it was. And then I bought Scintillate by Tracy Carr. Let's see, the Light Key Trilogy. I do remember it sounded really cool, so I bought it. Down to the last two, which is Blood Magic. That cover is really, it's really cool. It feels kind of roughish. It's really cool. And then I bought this one called Black Veil, which is a sequel to a book I already have called The Green Rider, which I've read several times, and when I found out it had a sequel, I had to have it. Now, I do still have one more book on order, And I also got, I'm showing you my arm, I got, from my Nook, I got, I'm not even going to be able to show you, I got a book from the author called The Trespassers. I don't remember the author's name. I'll write that down in the Google box. I had entered a contest to win the paperback copy of the book, and then the author reached out to me, and I'm sure several others, asking if I would like a Kindle copy. I don't have a Kindle, I have a Nook. So he offered me an EPUB copy. So I am reading right now a book called Trespassers, which is a book about aliens coming to Earth, and so far I'm loving it. It's really cool. And then I won an e-copy of a book on Library Thing, which I haven't received yet. But I'll go ahead and tell you about that because I'm probably not doing a book haul next month. But it's called Dancing with Cupid, and it's a paranormal romance, and I look forward to getting it and reading it, which I will probably start right after I get it, whenever I get it, because by then I should be done with Trespassers. And I have one more book on order, and that's the first book, Enclave. I haven't received it yet, but I do live in the South, and we've had a lot of rain and flooding, and I'm thinking it's probably stuck in Texas. So this was a super huge long haul. I know there was at least 80 books in it. I will count and put the number in